Thank you for joining us today. My name is Rachel Buterman. I am a nutrition and health specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, serving Crawford, Dent, and Phelps County.
And my name is Jean Day, and I'm the Nutrition Program Associate for Phelps and Pulaski counties, also with University Extension.
Today, we will show you how to pack a picnic while focusing on food safety. This is an important topic for our community because we are approaching a holiday weekend, which means many of us will be meeting with friends and family to have meals outside. Potentially, you're cooler packing experts, but there's also the potential you're used to cooking in your own home, and so don't know the special considerations we need to take when we plan and prepare meals outside to consider food safety. So today, we're going to take you through every step by following the Safe Picnic Guide available at the Phelps County Extension Center. You can call us to get a guide yourself or visit our website. The first step in planning a picnic is to choose your menu. The menu we planned for today followed the USDA's My Plate guidelines, which means it includes a component from every one of the 5 food groups and in the proportion which is recommended to get the micro and macronutrients we need for health. Our menu includes a 1-cup vegetable serving of black bean corn salsa, served with tortilla chips. For our fruit component, we have 1 ingredient, banana ice cream, pre-blended and frozen, served later. And we also have, for our grain and protein components, turkey burgers on a whole, 100% whole wheat bread. Finally, we're finishing it with a dairy serving of a slice of Swiss cheese to be served on our turkey burgers. Washing all of that down, we'll have basil-infused water, because trust us, you're going to want to remember to bring water during the hot summer season or you will miss it.
Really don't want to try to bring fluid milk. You need the dairy serving, but the cheese on whatever you're fixing, whether you're serving burgers or sandwiches, maybe shredded in your vegetable serving in a salad, is a great choice. You don't want to try to take fluid milk because it's really hard to keep that fresh and in good shape during a picnic. Leave that in the fridge at home.
Good advice. So we have our menu. Next, what we would need to do is shop for our menu and prepare the food. And the advantage of planning your menu ahead of time is you can incorporate it with the rest of your weekly shopping. That means there's no second trip to the grocery store on Thursday evening before that 3-day weekend. And there's the potential for less increased food costs because you can incorporate all of these ingredients into other meals you're having throughout the week to have better meal planning and a better food budget.
Keep you closer to your health goals as well. That it's very easy if you're in the store at the last minute to get those items that we all like, but we know aren't providing the nutrients that our bodies need.
Very true. There's a lot less temptation if you walk in with a list as opposed to picking up whatever you see.
Particularly if you already have your family or your other picnic participants in the car, and they all go in the store with you and start to load your cart with the things they want to have in it. This is not something we recommend.
But after you have your ingredients purchased, it's time to cook. And food safety is really important when we prepare food. The CDC tells us 1 in 6 Americans any given year will have some form of foodborne illness based on eating food or drinking beverages. So that includes 3,000 deaths as a result of foodborne illness, which is what we want to avoid by having a food-safe picnic. Foodborne illness can come from more than 250 individual causes. It's really any illness as a result of eating or drinking food. However, there are 3 big categories that cause foodborne illness. One of these is biological contaminants. Biological contaminants are living organisms that live on or are transported on food. These can include viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Another form of foodborne illness can come from physical contaminants. Physical contaminants are any substances which end up in food but don't belong there. Things like metal shavings, plastic, and fish bones, and hair, fingernails, all of it. So when you see people wearing hair nets, that's to protect you from physical contaminants in your food. The third main kind is chemical contaminants. These are substances which are not food safe and can cause illness if ingested, such as pesticides or various detergents. Biological contaminants are the most common kind we see associated with foodborne illness that gets us sick. And so when we're preparing our food, there are 4 steps we took to prepare our picnic meal in order to decrease the occurrence of foodborne illness. These included clean, separate, chill, and cook. The first step was to clean. And so when we prepared our food, we made sure our hands, our utensils, and our surfaces were all clean. When we clean, it means we scrub everything with hot soap and water, starting with our hands. We need to clean our hands before, during, and after preparing food. And when we wash our hands, we need to use hot soapy water to wash not only the palms, but also the back of the hands, in between the fingers, and underneath the nails themselves. At least 20 seconds. So that's about singing happy birthday twice. Along with cleaning our hands before we cook, we also need to clean them whenever they become contaminated. So if I'm hanging out with my friend Jean and I give her a big hug, I'll need to wash my hands again before I toss the salad. The same is true if I pet a dog, take out the trash, handle raw meat, poultry, or seafood, or otherwise touch a contaminated, dirty surface.
Well, and that's part of our separate step. We need to be sure that, as you mentioned, the raw meats are separated from the salad ingredients. Part of it's on your hands if you've made those burgers from the ground meat, and so you need to wash that to keep those separated, to keep you, your friends, and your family safe from those foodborne illnesses.
Absolutely. There's certain food products which are more likely to have dangerous bacteria. These include raw meats, poultry, seafood, and uncooked eggs. So we want to make sure until they've been cooked to an internal temperature that takes out those bacteria, we keep them separate from foods we're ready to eat, like salads or breads or pretty much anything that you don't plan to treat to a proper temperature. So, what else do we need to clean, Jane?
Well, it's a good idea to clean your cooler. Probably when you put it away, and because you don't remember if you cleaned it when you put it away, you probably need to clean it when you get it out. And I would actually recommend you do that the day before, because sometimes you need to scrub them with that warm soapy water, let it dry completely, and then use a sanitizing agent. Rachel's pulled out a wipe. Make sure that you can use this on kitchen surfaces. This one can. We're going to have to make sure we let it dry before we put any food in there. The time to tell you, we might tell you again. Any ice that you use to cool food in a cooler, we don't want to let that melt and then drink it. That's not exactly an invitation to disaster, but it's not a good idea. Yeah, you want to put it on your garden or something, that's probably fine. But this wipe is going to dry. It's going to disinfect the cooler. Check the directions to see how long it needs to dry. But if you put ice in there as your cooling medium, please don't drink the water.
Absolutely. Additionally, if you don't have a Lysol wipe, you can easily make a sanitizing solution using bleach and water. The ratio you're looking for is 1 tablespoon of bleach per gallon of water. And you would apply it on and allow it to air dry completely. So we need to wash our hands, our utensils, and our surfaces when we're preparing foods. Our next step, as you mentioned, is separate. So this typically focuses on those high-risk bacteria foods, meats, poultry, seafoods. And we need to start this early. We started separating as soon as we arrived at the store. So when we picked out the ground turkey, we placed it on the opposite side of the cart as we did the onions and the bananas for our other parts of the meal.
We try very hard to be ecologically sound here, but I still pull those plastic bags that are provided in the meat department to keep those uncooked proteins away from your other foods. It's worth it. When we talk about there are 3,000 to 4,000 deaths a year from foodborne illnesses, and over 70,000 people hospitalized a year with foodborne illnesses. And to me, it's worth that plastic.
Absolutely. It's important to prevent foodborne illness. And after you get it home, store it separately from your ready-to-eat foods as well. And then when we're preparing it, as we mentioned, use separate surfaces. My favorite technique for doing that is colored cutting boards. So I actually have a full set of colors at home, and I designate red and blue for anything meat related. So hamburger, fish. I only use the red and blue cutting boards. And then anything that's ready to eat, I use on the green and yellow ones. That way I don't get confused, and I don't have to second guess if it's time to re-clean between what I cut on one surface and another. So that's separate. Our third step we practiced was to cook. Cooking means that we're killing off potential bacteria and parasites by bringing the food to a high enough temperature that they can't survive. Unfortunately, the biological contaminants of viruses and toxins, which is a chemical contaminant, are not affected by heat. The effect we can have on them is in that cleaning process, making sure to wash our hands before we touch food. Humans are the most common contaminant of viruses. All right, so in cooking, we want to use a probe thermometer to check the internal cooking temperature. So when I go to cook my turkey burgers later, I'm going to insert that thermometer into the thickest part of the item, making sure the probe doesn't hit fat, gristle, or bone to get the most accurate temperature. Individual foods have different minimum internal cooking temperatures, and you can find guides online or call the local extension center. Turkey must be cooked to at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 to 2 seconds in order to kill off the present bacteria. So we've cleaned, separated, and cooked. The last thing we need to do is chill. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean Jean and I get a break. No.
Not yet.
When we chill, we take the food that has been prepared at room temperature and bring it down below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's to combat our most common cause of foodborne illness, bacteria. They love to live between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. So chilling it to below 40 degrees keeps them from growing and growing and growing to levels that make us sick. When it comes to our picnic, we practice chilling by making sure we make the food early enough to chill it all in the refrigerator. So I'm not taking room temperature food and putting it directly into my cooler. I'm instead putting it into my refrigerator to drop the temperature and then transferring it directly into my cooler. In that same way, we need to make sure our cooler maintains a cold temperature of 40 degrees or less to decrease that growth of bacteria. All right, so our food is prepared. It's time to get packing. The first piece of equipment we need is the cooler itself. Coolers are used to transport food for outdoors cooking because they're designed to decrease the transfer of heat from the external environment of this room to the internal environment of the inside of the cooler. It does this through the air insulation gap between the outside layer and the inside layer. So heat doesn't convect as a wave through this as quickly as it would for a non-insulated box. So when it is closed, the temperature inside stays cooler longer than the outside temperatures. Anytime we open a cooler, we have the exchange of air. Hot air comes in and cold air escapes. So we want to limit the amount of times we open a cooler to maintain a good cold internal temperature. In the same way, having a tight-fitting lid leaves us less.
And also, if you're preparing, we've talked about a picnic for a small group. If you are expecting a large group, You've probably figured this out for yourself, but if you have two coolers, one just has drinks and one has the things that the cooks need for the picnic, you're going to stay food safe a whole lot longer. Because particularly if you're using packaged drinks, and if you have a really large group, already packaged, commercially packaged foods are not a bad idea because they're going to be food safe for longer in their individual packages. And we get into the packaging issue. But if you have one cooler that has all your frozen water bottles in it, and then another cooler with your turkey burgers and your prepared salsa, you're going to have more control over what's happening at your picnic, and you're going to keep your foods chilled and separated.
Absolutely. So you already saw us earlier sanitize our cooler. That's always the first step. Now we're going to start packing it. We want our bottommost layer to be a layer of coolant or some sort of ice. We have several ice options for you to show you today. One of them is a hard pack ice pack. So this is just a hard case of plastic with a mixture of water and various solvents to keep it cold for a long period of time. Throughout the spectrum of ice cubes, to block ice, to ice packs, they all perform pretty similar. Individual ice cubes will melt faster than a large ice block, but when you do a sufficient job of filling your cooler completely with solid substances, ice performs in the same way that an ice block will. So we're putting a bottom layer of an ice pack in our cooler. Next, we're going to take part of a tool we have in our Safe Picnic Guide, which is packing with a purpose. This means we're basically going to pack our meal in reverse, putting the dessert on the bottom and the appetizer on top. That way, when I get into this later, I'm not digging all the way to the bottom of the cooler to get my first course. In this case, we're putting our banana ice cream in the bottom.
And again, that's already frozen. So this is just another piece of cooling equipment that you're going to enjoy eating later.
Mm-hmm. Next, we can layer in some more ice. We have several ice options here. Here I have an ice block. I used a food-safe container, which was a well-washed yogurt container filled full of water and frozen in the freezer. So this is a solid ice block to keep my cooler cold. And we can add in some of our other ingredients for our meal, such as our cheese. And finally, our salsa, because we'll be getting into that first. When you're packing your cooler, you want to make sure the entirety of the cooler is as full of solid objects as possible, because solid ice or solid food holds a cold temperature much longer than cold air, which can easily escape. So I'm packing in lots of frozen water bottles, ice packs, and ice into the cooler to keep it full. Typically, the recommendation is up to 80% of food with to 20% of ice. But if you have less food like I have today, you can add more ice in. All right, so we have packed our cooler here. The only thing I haven't packed are my raw turkey burger patties. And what we're going to do for food safety, remember our rule of separate, is actually store these separate from our other cooler items. We already have a few ice packs here in our foil-lined pouch, and now I have my prepared patties in a leak-proof bag. Ziploc bags are one way to do this, or other brands of bags, to make sure there's no leak of fluids inside the bag to outside. We're going to place it in a separate foil-lined bag to keep it cool during transport. This means there's a lesser chance of any juices or bacteria from that raw product to transfer into our ready-to-eat foods. Exactly.
It's a good idea. At the Extension office, we do this once in a while. This is what typically seen as a refrigerator thermometer. You can hang it on the rack in your refrigerator. You can also lay it on your cooler on one of your food packages. And then check that later to make sure your food is kept below 40 degrees. So that thermometer will assure you that you've done an adequate job of getting your mix of food to cooling and let you know that you and your family and your friends will have safe food when you get to your destination.
Using a thermometer is a surefire way to know that you're keeping your food cold enough. So now we're almost packed. We have a few more items to pack for our picnic. We still have some items which are shelf stable tortilla chips and bread that I don't want to put in the cooler because I don't want them to get wet and soggy. So instead, we can take something like a canvas bag or a box to store these in separately. The next,
in the exciting scenic picnics.
and then absolutely, we need to pack our utensils as well. So in our Safe Picnic Guide, we actually have a list of common utensils for you to include. We're probably going to start out by needing some plates. So you want, the number of plates you want is 1 for each person, which is 3, plus 2 for every raw food item you have. So I have a raw turkey burger, which means I need 2 plates. That's with our separate rule. I can put the raw turkey burgers on 1 plate, then use my tongs to put them onto the grill, cook them, and then have a clean plate to put the fully cooked burgers on. You don't want to reuse that plate because otherwise you're putting a safe product onto a dirty surface. So those 5 plates in there. We also have about 2 serving utensils for each one of our dishes. That's because I inevitably drop something on the ground every time.
Gravity is everywhere.
And I don't want to bring a full washing basin with me on my picnic, meaning I don't want to bring a bucket for hot soapy water, rinse water, and disinfectant bleach solution to clean my utensils. So instead, I just bring lots of utensils. So I have a scoop or a dip for each one of my serving menu items and enough forks for everybody.
And one more for that person you know that always drops one.
Exactly. We also have cups for everybody to enjoy our water. And that is packing our physical equipment for the picnic. It's also a good idea to bring a bag or bin to put your dirty utensils in after you're done using them so you don't mix them in with your clean utensils and they aren't otherwise littering your picnic space. Okay, it looks like we're packed. You ready to picnic?
Oh, sure.
All right, so let's go ahead and show you how to set up your picnic service. We'll need our cooler. When it comes to decreasing the rate of bacteria on food, once we have removed food from that safe less than 40-degree temperature, there's a limited amount of time that we can serve it and eat it before we need to get rid of it because the bacteria level is just too high. On a very hot day where it's 90 degrees or above, we only have 1 hour to serve that food or dispose of it. If it's a cooler day, less than 90 degrees, we can keep it for up to 2 hours before we have to dispose of it. One way to decrease the growth of bacteria for that food we're serving is to use an ice bath. Ice baths are really easy to make. You take a shallow dish. Here I have a foil pan. And you add some ice cubes. After we have added the ice cubes,
I didn't mean to completely drop your table here.
no. And those ice cubes will provide a cooling surface for the
And you can see them. When you can't see them or when you know what, you know the size ice you either get at the convenience store or comes out of your ice maker. When the cubes are about half size, you know that you need to take steps to keep that dish cold because you're going to lose your ice. They're nice because you can see them so you know that they're still cold.
Absolutely. Even with the ice tray, we're still going to need to use or dispose of this serving of food within those 2 hours or 1 hour if it's very hot. But we have decreased the growth of bacteria by using an ice bath, keeping everyone safer. Our other tip for service is to use smaller containers. So I could have had 1 big serving of salsa, but instead what we packed were 3 smaller servings.
So while this one's out in the 90 degrees, these 2 are still nice and cold below 40. So when this dish is empty, or starts to look too scruffy for your personal taste, then you can just get the second dish out.
Absolutely. So a lot less food waste. So for the rest of our picnic, we would similarly set up ice trays for potentially the bananas if we wanted to eat when we got those out for ice cream. And when we put together our sandwiches, we need to remember when we cook them to bring them to that internal cooking temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit. And we can use our both thermometer to check those before serving those to everyone.
We'd like to look and have a nice brown grilled looking burger, but that does not give you enough information. It does not protect you from foodborne illness. We really want it seems like a very fussy thing, but we want you to take that thermometer with you, either the analog read or a digital one that will go into the burger, into the chicken thigh, into whatever you're cooking to make sure that you and your friends and family are protected.
Absolutely. So we appreciate you joining us today for our picnic, and we hope you really enjoy yours this weekend. Feel free to give us a call at the Extension Center for questions and more advice. At the Phillips County Extension Center, our number is 573-458-6260. You can also call us to get a copy of our Safe Picnic Guide to plan your picnic for the next holiday. Thank you.